Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of what if Naruto was neglected and broken and became a Daimyo. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs coming over the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4 of them which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, guys. Comment down below and tell me if you're new so I can reply to you guys. So without further ado or wasting no more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now, guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto gave Hinata the seals that were necessary to stop Yakumo if the demon Cypher decided to take over, as he gave her the job to control her training while he was gone. Hinata was all too happy to do it. With that, Naruto set out on the road with Jiraiya. While that was going on, Danzo was having a meeting with his only surviving subordinate. As her name was Rat, she told him that her team was caught into a strange Fuinjutsu that killed all of them. She was able to escape. Given that she was the fastest on the team, this was not, well, impossible. As Danzo hated when people brought him failed missions, as he sent her to go and get her punishment. Unknown to him though, Rat was now on Naruto's side. Yes, all of the root agents set Naruto free. As they realized that they did not have a life of their own, their mind was corrupted, twisted as they turned into pawns. And they wanted to change that. They wanted to be free. And Naruto was offering them freedom. They joined him, as Naruto sent Rat back, with the ability to destroy her pain nerves until she wanted to reactivate them, so she would not feel any pain during the punishment. Danzo had no idea what was cooking right under his nose. While that was going on, the rest of the ninjas except for one were added to the active roster, the one that spilled all the secrets, as Naruto was still keeping a close eye on him for now, as Deku was currently at the office, while the real Naruto was with Jiraiya, as they were going to find Tsunade. As they were making their way, Jiraiya decided to show Naruto the Rasengan, as Naruto saw it, but he told Jiraiya that by the end of the week, he can create a Fuin ninjutsu better than that. As Jiraiya accepted that challenge, given the fact that Naruto told him if he did, he should leave him alone from now on. And if Naruto failed, he will become Jiraiya's apprentice. So without thinking, he accepted that challenge, believing that Naruto could not do that after all. It took Minato years to complete this, so Naruto would be able to do that, he thought. With that, they continued the search. It did not take too long for them to find Tsunade. As when they did find her though, she was being rather disrespectful, as Jiraiya was disappointed and upset by her behavior. Naruto found it rather amusing, as he said that it was rather pathetic for someone of her stature. He was disappointed. He continued to piss her off until he got her to agree to a bet. If he won, she'd come back to Konoha. If he lost, well, he would get the hell out of here. So with that, they went outside to fight. Tsunade underestimated him, saying that she would only use one finger. Naruto was able to bind her with his rope that was filled with Fuinjutsu. She could not break out of it. It did not matter how hard she tried, she was stuck. He then released her and told her that he will be waiting. As he made his way off, he ran into some trouble. It turns out that Itachi and Kisame was after him, as they did found him. Naruto tried to buy enough time for Tsunade and Jiraiya to arrive. Catching Tsunade off guard while she underestimated him was one thing, but Kisame could siphon the chakra out of his Fuinjutsu, as Naruto wanted to create something to stop anyone from doing that. He summoned Deku, Deku got the signal as he quickly left the office, leaving the ninja there in charge. Blinding speed as he took his way back to Konoha. Sasuke came out there only to be defeated rather quickly. With that said and done, Naruto had to fight Kisame as he held him off until Deku arrived. Kisame got some brutal hits to the point where he was on his knees coughing up blood. Deku's strength and speed was unreal. He was a force to be reckoned with. It was then that the two Sanins arrived to back Naruto up. With them on his side, it was easy to fend off against Itachi. As he ended up fleeing, he returned back to Kisame's side, who was about to get dropped. However, he arrived and knocked the other one away, as it was time for them to go. With that said, Kisame promised Deku that they will fight again, and the next time he finds him, he will regret it. So with that, he headed off. Deku then vanished off as well to make sure that they did not see him. The next morning though, after Naruto had finished his Fuinjutsu that he promised Jiraiya, Tsunade decided to leave as she was running away with Shizune, Pig and all her suitcases in hand. However, Jiraiya was drugged as Naruto found him, as they decided to go after her. The problem was, the Sannin, the other one, Orochimaru showed up, as he was here for her. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. If you guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So yeah, without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. Orochimaru, Tsunade snarled, seeing his slimy face. What do you want? Straight to the point. Typical Tsunade, he said. As Tsunade watched as he walked forward towards her, Orochimaru completely ignored Shizune, like she was nothing to him, making her see that he had someone behind him, a grey-haired spectacled teen. I require your medical expertise. I am not going to help you, traitor, said Tsunade. Orochimaru chuckled darkly as he looked at her. Stubborn as always. I like that about you, Tsunade. He stepped forward. He was almost nose to nose with her, as he tucked a strand of blonde hair back behind her ear. But, he said, it wasn't an option. He turned sideways as Kabuto pulled a kunai and cut his wrist, allowing the blood to come out of his body. Tsunade froze up as she saw the blood. Shizune quickly dropped the bags as she took a fighting stance. Stand back, she said. I'm warning you. Orochimaru chuckled. You're out of your depth here, girl. He then proceeded to grab Tsunade by her hair harshly. Tsunade, who was stuck in a catatonic state, she was unable to fight him off, as Orochimaru was pulling her towards the general location of the hidden sound. Take care of her, Kabuto, he said. With pleasure, my lord, Kabuto said. Orochimaru heard something, a whistling. He turned towards Kabuto, who looked towards his master. Orochimaru then snapped his gaze upwards. Oh shit. His words were cut off. A small blue spear landed on him, pushing Tsunade away, as Orochimaru grunted as he felt like 200 pounds of weight had just crashed right into his chest as he tried to see what was inside of the blue bubble. Naruto, who was inside of it, looked right in the man's eyes before he scoffed. He then clapped his hand together. Push. The result was the ball expanding. Orochimaru was torn into the earth, his body being crushed downwards. Shizune and Kabuto had to move away as well, as it expanded even more. Get off me! The Sannin said with anger resonating from his tone, to show that he was very much alive, as he squinted his eyes and focused as he saw. Naruto, he said. As Naruto scratched his cheek in thought, I'll consider it, he said, only for Orochimaru to melt in a mud puddle, vanishing. It was then that it came. Monstrous amount of killer intent from the snake Sannin. It swallowed the entire place. Jiraiya, arriving on the scene, rushing up towards Tsunade, as he gently slapped her in the face for her to look at him. Tsunade! Tsunade! Look at me, he yelled. He turned and kicked Kabuto away, as the teen tried to sneak up on him. Tsunade was frozen as she looked beyond Jiraiya to see Naruto versus Orochimaru. His back was turned to her. Orochimaru was facing down the boy as Jiraiya turned and clenched his fists, trying to control his chakra. He went through a long chain of hand signs. Here go nothing. Summoning Jutsu! only for a tadpole to appear. God damn it, come on, he said, as he cancelled a jutsu. As for Naruto, he had to block a brutal kick with his arm shield and shove Orochimaru back. Orochimaru came towards him once again as Naruto lashed out. With his good leg, the man bent away from it only for Naruto to clap his hand together, blasting the Sannin away. Orochimaru's blood-curdling scream choked the environment with his killer intent. Stop doing that, he yelled. He threw himself up in the air as he lashed out his right arm. Snakes crawled down it at impressive speed, climbing down towards Naruto. In response, Naruto jammed his shield into the ground as he stood behind it, and he grit his teeth as they slammed right into his shield. His blue bubble was around him as multiple Orochimaru mud clones started to appear and punch and kick it, trying to break through. He deduced after a few more minutes of constant attacks from the Sannins, it would break down after the pressure. Jiraiya, any time now, he yelled, as a crack appeared on the right side of the shield. He didn't want to call Deku. There was two Sannins here, and the Sannin's apprentice. If the Toad Sannin could snap his partner out of her funk, then maybe they could survive today. His tree-root seals that kept him binded to the ground were working good to stop him from sliding back. I'm working on it, kid, said Jiraiya. A small toad appeared on his shoulder as he cancelled a jutsu once again. As he turned and kicked Kabuto away, once again knocking the teen away who tried to sneak up on him. Give me a minute, I almost got it, he said. Shizune was frantic. She was hesitant to go up against a Sannin and she didn't know how to snap Tsunade out of her funk. She knelt in front of her and snapped her fingers in front of her eyes. However, Tsunade kept her eyes on Naruto. He's holding him back, Tsunade said, as Shizune decided to use that as a lifeline to pull her out. Yes, he's trying to hold him back, but he will not be able to do so for too long if he does not get any help. My help? Tsunade clenched her face as she lowered her help. The brat needs my help. Shizune nodded, yes. Orochimaru is too strong for him to handle him for much longer. And the poison that you gave Jiraiya is messing up his chakra control. Naruto needs your strength, Lady Tsunade. Shizune shielded herself and her master from the backlash of a horrible earth release, pillars of the harsh underworld. The jutsu simulated massive earth pillars shooting out of the earth and blunting down on their target. The rocks slammed against Naruto's shield, as well as Orochimaru clones and his hidden shadow snake attacks. The force was coming down hard. Naruto could not push them away. That would leave him vulnerable for the slightest of seconds, which he could not afford to waste. Naruto dug his hands into his pockets as he pulled out a seal on a thick piece of paper. I never thought I would ever need this. He gripped the seal with his middle and index finger as he yelled, Jiraiya, start the summoning. But my chakra. Just do it, said Naruto as he threw the seal over his shoulder. Jiraiya ran through hand sign as a seal in paper slapped onto his chest as the man yelled, Summoning Jutsu! The seal that was shaped like a 9-sided flower unfurled as it poofed right underneath him. Now we're talking. Jiraiya, why am I here? Even Orochimaru paused as he looked up towards the massive toad. Snake Summoner, the toad said as he drew out his blade. As Naruto tiredly fell onto his knees and let his guard down, allowing his blue shell to keep the attacks away. His eyes widened as he heard a sound like a window being cracked. A snake slipped right in and bit him on the shoulder. Naruto grit his teeth and activated his shield as he shredded the snake to pieces. He looked at the bleeding Baitoon as he winced. That's gonna sting in the morning. Kid, the snake poison is working too quickly, Kurama said inside his head, as he swirled his chakra, driving the poison away from Naruto's heart and lungs. How long do I have, said Naruto. An hour before you lose consciousness. Naruto placed his right hand over the snake bite and it started to glow a deep green. How about now? Of course. He's slowing his heart down, the Kyuubi said, rolling his eyes. That wasn't a healing jutsu, it was a temporary stasis jutsu that was made by contact method, where a seal master touches the part that you want to use the area of seal on. The Kyuubi recalled that Kushina could use the contact method to create offensive and defensive seals. Minato Namikaze and Mito Uzumaki could do it as well. As he grunted, 3 hours tops. Good enough, said Naruto, as he stood to his feet. As he looked up and met the Toad Boss eye. Who's the kid, Jiraiya? Uzumaki Naruto, but we need to focus on the fight first, Jiraiya. You still owe me that drink. I'll pay you back later. Gamabunta smoked out some smoke from his pipe. Yeah, whatever. Hop on, kid, as Naruto leap and land on the thing's head. What about Tsunade? Right here, as he turned. Glancing over, Tsunade was standing on top of the slug summoned boss. Shizune crouching behind her. Tsunade, you're back, Jiraiya said. What pulled you out? Shizune said that Orochimaru called me old. She joked playfully with a smirk. Her eyes then focused as Manda appeared. As Orochimaru was on top of his head, Kabuto right beside him. Just like the good old days, huh? He said, as he looked towards a pained scowl on Naruto's face, with a little twist. Hey kid, do you have any more of that juice? That felt great, said Jiraiya, whispering to Naruto beside him. Yes, but it only worked 2 seconds at a time, while you pump as much chakra as you can. Naruto had created a seal under the chance that someone close to him might try to poison his chakra network. It was far-fetched, but he could not be too careful. Now he had to think about how he would negate the Sharingan and the Byakugan. He pulled out a fistful as Gamabunta leaped towards Manda. The snake ducked out of the way. Of the sword, however, he was met with a superhuman punch at the side of the head, courtesy of Tsunade. Manda hissed angrily as he wrapped himself around the massive slug. Katsuyu, disperse! The massive slug disassembled into smaller slugs and reappeared a distance away from the snake. Tsunade ran up the snake before driving her fist in Orochimaru's face. She flipped away to avoid the Kusanagi. As she landed back on the slug boss. Hey brat, how are you holding up? Said Jiraiya. I'm fine. Just hurry, said Naruto, as he slapped the seal on his leg. Jiraiya felt it as he rushed through hand sign. Fire style. Great fireball technique. Gamabunta spat out oil as they combined. A massive inferno blazed forward. Earth release. World greatest Earth Dome defense. The snake boss pumped a lot of chakra into the earth technique as a dome of earth surrounded him. How the hell does he know that jutsu, Tsunade asked. She leaped forward and drove her fist inside of it. It cracked, however. The chakra started to reform it. She then ducked as Kabuto started to attack her with his chakra scalpel. Do something, you idiot, she yelled. I'm working on it, said Jiraiya, as Gamabunta was hacking away at the shell that surrounded Manda. I bet you wish that you know the Rasengan now, kid, said Jiraiya, as a light bulb appeared above Naruto's head. Oh yeah, he said. He removed the hand that was keeping the bleeding at bay from his shoulder as he reached and pulled out his new seal. I've got this. What's that? You're about to find out, said Naruto. Get back, Gamabunta! I hope you know what you're doing, kid, the Toad Boss said as he leaped back as Naruto leaped off his head. Now in mid-air, Naruto unraveled the seal as he pumped as much chakra as he could into it. He steadied himself as he was falling downwards. Ninja art. Fuinjutsu. Chakra beam. All of his power converged into the center before it was released, twisting and turning into a monstrous beam from the heavens. It smashed right through the dome immediately, crashing down on Gamabunta as he dispelled. Orochimaru had to run for his life away from the bright blue beam that was destroying everything. We need to leave, Lord Orochimaru, Kabuto shouted across the clearing as he was trying his best to keep up with Tsunade, and at the same time dodging poisonous Senbon shot by Shizune. A Senbon nailed him right in the calf before Tsunade crushed her fist in his face, launching him right over to his master. As blood was leaking from his face, he couldn't even get up. Orochimaru fumed as he grabbed the back of Kabuto's neck, glaring over towards all of them. He pulled Kabuto up to his feet. His legs were shaking, but he still stood. "You've won nothing, Jiraiya," Tsunade yelled. Kabuto pulled something out and threw it down. Orochimaru melted away. The distraction caused Kabuto to run as fast as he could in the forest. As Naruto had landed on the ground, he released a sigh before he simply plopped down on his butt. "Close one, huh, kid? You okay?" As Naruto glanced up at Shizune, and Tsunade was standing there. Tsunade noticed the snake poison. However, she smirked as she noticed that he had his shirt ripped off and wrapped around it. As she saw the seal that was activated, Shizune knelt beside her and smiled as she placed a hand on Naruto's forehead. "You'll be fine, Naruto. You need to rest." He nodded before he closed his eyes. The last thing he heard was, "Start by cutting off the blood flow." As they began to heal him up. Time skip. Purple ring eyes snapped open. At the head of the room, the person was sitting down on a throne in front of the red cloak followers. He was squinting his eyes at something that only he could see as the rest of the Akatsuki members waited patiently to hear what he had to say. His thin, reedy breaths were the only sound that filled the room. The man that held so much power to make the crazy Jashin worshipper, Hidan, shut his lips. "Tell us your report, Itachi." His voice was deep and menacing, making the mad bomber Deidara lower his head on instinct, and Itachi clenched his fist at the invisible force that was being weighed down on him. "Because I do not understand how a 12-year-old Fuinjutsu user could take on an Uchiha of your caliber, and a seal master, natural enemy as well." His voice rose. The ground that they stood on shook violently. This time Deidara closed his eyes shut, only to snap them open back a moment later, as he looked to see if anyone caught him. Lucky for him, all attention was on their leader. A purple-haired, expressionless faced woman looked towards the man. He waved for her to stay where she was. "Well, tell us all how you could not match up to the Kyuubi Jinchuriki," he said, leaning back in his throne. Kisame, who was healed by now, clenched his fist as he could not face his leader. He knew when and when not to talk back as well. Itachi, his partner, was the more defiant of the duo as he decided to look the man right in his eyes with his Sharingan slowly spinning. Jiraiya and Tsunade were with him. He was cut off before he could finish anything else. "You caught the boy in his hotel room before that. Much longer before that," Nagato said, visibly having to restrain himself from crushing Itachi with one of his control over gravity. "What stopped you from taking him out right there?" The others in the meeting, namely Kakazu, Hidan, Deidara, Sasori, Konan, Zetsu, and even Tobi, did not envy the position that the two was in. There was also another person there, a new member of the organization, known as Rai. She was a lean woman with muscles and frizzy, white hair castrating down her back. She had mocha color skin. Her brown eyes looked towards Kisame, then towards Itachi, and surprisingly enough, at Tobi as well. She was wearing shin-high silver toe boots on her feet and metal gauntlets on her hands, with her full body dotted with restraint seals, chakra limiter seals, and weight seals. Tobi/Madara had found her fending off against a whole platoon of Kumo hunters, and doing so with ease. It astounded him. Rai had attempted a coup, but she was unsuccessful, not counting that Killer Bee would return from his mission earlier than usual to face off against her, with the Raikage backing. The Raikage was heavily ashamed to admit, if Bee was not with him to perform combination jutsus, he would have died at her hands. Rai was special. From the moment that she had found awareness in this world, from the moment she started to understand, she was aware that she had a lot of energy. Too much energy. So much so that when her parents had called her down from her room, she walked down the staircase. Electricity was surging from her body. Her energy was just spiraling out. Her civilian parents, with teary eyes, handed her to the Kage at the time to be studied. Under the knife, the sergeant and doctors discovered that her light affinity was so thick and dense it was able to light a bulb just from her running her finger across the wall, and he could sustain it for a long while until it exploded. She was forced to go through grueling and hard training from the age of 4 until the third Raikage's death, when A took the position as Raikage. To keep her speed in check, she had to wear custom-made gauntlets and chakra weights all over her body. She was a person that was sent out on double X-rank missions. Rai had a grudge against Kumo leaders, seeing that she was dragged away from her parents, who later died of heartbreak after hearing that she had attempted a coup, all because she had a rare bloodline. A short wave of electricity passed through her eyes as she remembered Toby taking her down, making full use of his intangibility, his kamui, along with his chains and sickles, and his raw taijutsu experience. Despite her being lightning incarnate, she could not keep up with the man. The idea of being surrounded by those that were similar to her might, and taking hard missions that were too tantalizing, she could not decline. Nagato told her that she was a free partner, which means she usually took missions alone, but if her ability was needed, she would be partnered up with someone else, like Toby and Zetsu, who best work alone. Back to the current situation that Itachi and Nagato was in, the clan killer spoke up. He sealed us out of the room and escaped through the window. You two can run at remarkable speeds. Why didn't you run at full speeds? At that, Nagato did not get an answer. I see. You, Kisame, why were you so easily defeated? A mysterious ninja came out of nowhere. He was much faster than me, Lord Pain. Rai cocked her head to the side, hearing that. Much faster than Kisame. Kisame has a quarter of my speed. If he can go faster than him, he must be able to create electricity with his own body. She furrowed her eyes as she looked down. Just like me. That cannot be possible, said Nagato. You weren't going all out. I was. Kisame controlled himself as he did not snap out, just barely. Then why didn't you make use of your shark form, or turn the terrain into your favor? Nagato's voice felt like an overbearing weight as Kisame kept silent. I see. You underestimated the child and your opponent. He then leaned back on his throne. I see that you two are not capable of completing this little mission. Both of them kept silent, but Zetsu shuffled away from Kisame when he clenched his fist so tight there was a cracking sound. Not in the least bit intimidated. Nagato spoke up. I will give you two one more chance to redeem yourself. The both of them bowed slightly, Kisame's shoulders even slumped in relief. But you will be going to Rai in case this mysterious ninja shows up again. Both of them nodded in acceptance. I will summon you when you are to collect the Kyuubi holder. Dismiss. The holograms in the meeting blinked out of life. Hidon, Kakazu, Deidara, and Sasori were gone, leaving the rest to stare at one another. Rai turned as she started to walk towards her room in the tower. Where are you going, Rai? Itachi asked as he stepped beside her. Kisame stepping on her other side. I'm going to my room to get my bag. I hear that there's a beast near the hidden Chill Mountains, and I want its head. How about you guys, she said as she glanced up, her eyes following the electricity coursing through the bulbs above her. Lord Pain need to change these. She raised her silver goblet as she tapped the bulb. All of them brightened up exponentially until the tower was well lit. She sighed. Much better, she said. Kisame shrugged. The dim lights added an ominous effect, don't you think, he asked. Rai scoffed. As Kisame asked, where are we going, Itachi? We are going to spar. Care to join us before you leave, he asked. Yeah, sure. I got some time for a spar, she said. She had been at the Akatsuki for a year now, and she hadn't sparred with anyone. This was the second time she was at the Hidden Rain. She had been spending majority of her time burning out her energy by taking impossible missions from the Hidden Stone and other villages. Yes, she had a very good grasp on her adrenaline and lightning, but she still liked the feel of a good mission. An all-out spar, Itachi said. Rai raised the eyebrow towards him. Are you sure? I mean, I can hit hard. Trust me, Rai. You need all you have to go up against us. Time skip. A week after their arrival, Naruto sat in his wheelchair as he glanced through his apartment window. Thinking about all that has happened in the time period, Deku had given him the weekly report. A mall was being built, and Hidden Darkness had their eyes on their country for a potential alliance. Hidden Darkness was a shinobi village that was built underground, with connecting tunnels. This meant they had a natural defense. The village preferred to make trade agreements and allow their civilians to set up shop in different villages and nations, because they were a peace-seeking village. There was currently a stone masonry being set up near the new mall inside of Wave Village. It was being done by the Hidden Shadow. Naruto was trying out different hand-to-hand combats, as it would be a better chance of him surviving in a battle. He had been trying to find one that would suit his body very well, something defensive that mixed with weapon wielding. But he had not found one yet, so he sent Deku to other places to find a style for him, whether in other villages or remote underground caves somewhere else. As he thought about Deku's style, but that would not fit him one bit. The style was known as the Fourth Fist. It was not a popular taijutsu style. The style was made up of suicide strikes, making your opponent see multiple openings in your attacks. For instance, if Deku was to punch a person across the face and the person leaned back, Deku's entire right side would be exposed. However, it was a feint, as Deku's right hand would be striking out or his knee would be coming up at the same time. Other instances would be him using the cannonball from high buildings or the weight seals. Naruto did not have the speed or confidence in his hand-to-hand to do something like that. The closest thing for Naruto for a cannonball was when he leaped off buildings and wrapped himself in his iron blue bubble, just like when he had slammed right into Orochimaru's chest. He would have to make do of shielding himself against attacks and using his snake rope and his sleeping chains against the opponents. The seal that he had used to briefly give Jiraiya control back over his chakra was called the Perfect Control Seal. It did not matter how large or small the capacity of the person that used it, they gained complete control perfect over their chakra. However, he could only make it last for 10 seconds. What he did was stack 30 of them on top of each other and place them on his bicep. That extended his chakra to 5 minutes perfect control, despite the Kyuubi's chakra in his system. Think of water rushing through a stream, and there was a compartment to lock it off. The compartment was only slowing it down and there was still water getting through. However, applying the seal that Naruto used, it would completely shut off for 5 minutes, giving him perfect control of the water inside. He also created a seal to control the demon inside of Yakumo. It was immensely hard. The seal that he used placed the demon inside of an illusion. The reason it was hard was because Yakumo demon was not made from chakra. Well, not normal chakra or tail beast chakra. It was made from negative chakra, which was far different. As Naruto had created a seal, he had to take an hour to apply it. The seal constantly convert and trick the demon, placing it into a state of bliss and calm. It basically put it into a suspended animation where it could not react in the slightest. It was just relaxed, calm, frozen. The next thing the seal did was wrap around the demon's body and convert its chakra, flowing it through Yakumo just like how the fox chakra tapped into his own system. The problem was Yakumo chakra control was now shot to hell because of the added bonus rushing into her, empowering her. The process has taken a few hours to do that, not to mention he had to place containment seals in case the demon escaped, just in case he messed up. Hinata was a great help as well, as she was applying the seals to his arm when he ran out. As for his chakra beam seal, his Nin Fuinjutsu seal, he was able to contain the blast even more. The last time he used it, his fingertips got insanely red, as the chakra output had came with a backlash. It was now tattooed into his left palm. He had been training with it for a week, and he was trying to see if he could use different natures, mixing it with the chakra in the attacks. He discovered that he could use different chakra affinities, but he could not combine affinities that negate one another, like fire and water, or lightning and wind. The attacks were immensely powerful, and the fact that he did not have to use his perfect control seal was a big plus in his book. Jiraiya had backed off as he admitted that the attack was equal to the Rasengan. Naruto's custom alarm warned him that someone was coming, as there was a knock soon after, making his way towards the door. Amanda's wearing masked ninja was standing there. It's been a while, kid. Naruto smiled slightly as he waved at the man. I could say the same thing, Mandes. The ninja marched inside and looked around. He smirked under his mask when he did not see any mess in sight. You've definitely cleaned up, that's for sure. I've grown up, said Naruto with a shrug. You want some tea? I have this new brew. The ninja waved him off, as he showed that he was still on duty. I'm fine, he said. I'm here to tell you that Lord Hokage has summoned you. The man was referring to Tsunade Senju, the new Hokage. She had begrudgingly taken the mantle, saying something about doing it for Dan and Nawaki. As Naruto raised an eyebrow, why does she want to see me? Manda shrugged. I honestly don't know, but the council elders are there with her. It must be important. Mandas walked behind Naruto as he was about to push his wheelchair until Naruto stood up. Oh yeah, you can walk now, he said. Not for long though. I am still working out the bugs, said Naruto. As he ran his detection seal over his body and he felt all his seals in the appropriate places. Let's get going. I don't want to keep Tsunade waiting. He grabbed hold of his windowsill and bolted himself outside like he has been doing multiple times. Mandas wanted to reprimand Naruto for not referring to the Hokage as Lord or Lady, but he did not do that. He was made to see that, through guarding Naruto and overseeing the Hokage, that they had a special connection. Besides, he did not want to ruin this little reunion with the kid by bothering him with those titles. Instead, he complimented him on flipping through the window. Nicely done, kid. With that, they made their way. Arriving there, Mandas, he led Naruto towards inside, as he ruffled Naruto's hair before heading off, back to his post. As Naruto stood in front of the receptionist. Nice deck, Shizune. Shizune looked like she would almost pass out from exhaustion as her desk was filled with documents. Is it oak or mahogany? As she spared Naruto a short smile. Good to see that you're well, she said. Lady Tsunade would see you now. As Naruto nodded before, he made his way towards the door. He looked at it for a moment before pushing it as he stepped inside. Tsunade was sitting down as there were the three elders, Koharu, Homura, and Danzo. As Naruto bowed politely to them. Do you know why you're here, Naruto? Tsunade asked. No, Lord Hokage. At least he can read the room, Manda's thoughts. As Naruto gave the proper title this time, as he was hidden in the corner. As Tsunade smirked, as she straightened her features. I'll get straight to the point. Your performance in my retrieval was stellar. Jiraiya recommended the idea of making you a ninja, maybe even evaluating you to see what proper rank you should be given. As Naruto kept his face calm, and after personally reporting to the council on your performance, the decision was unanimous. We agreed to make you a ninja, she said, as she pulled out a forward protector and tossed it towards him. Congratulations, brat. As Naruto stared at the thing, the room was dead quiet as he just stared at it. There was no movement, nothing at all. He just looked at it before. His fist seemed to clench around it. Aren't you gonna thank us? Koharu said, with barely perceived venom in her tone. The other council seemed to agree with what she had said. All the occupants of the room watched as Naruto stepped forward and placed it down before he slid it back towards Tsunade. I can't accept this, he said. Tsunade sat back in shock, with a frown that he had on his face. What do you mean you can't accept this? The council has agreed to make you a ninja. You should be more appreciative, Koharu said, venom bubbling out of her. Tsunade, instead of getting angry, looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Since knowing him, she realized that it took a lot to make him to lose his cool or even show open expression sadness. Why don't you want to be a ninja anymore, Naruto? Jiraiya said, it was your dream. As Naruto put his fist behind his back, because they were clenched tightly, she noticed, from the muscle in his arms. I don't want to be a ninja anymore. That dream has passed, said Naruto. Tsunade realized that he was truly incredible in line. He looked her directly in the eyes. There was no movement, no twitching of the eyes. His tone did not change, his posture did not slack. However, his breath that he was taking was a bit shorter. Thank you for the offer, Lord Hokage. Honorable elders, but I must... Outrageous! Koharu said, unable to hold her anger. You dare decline an offer from the honorable elders. Naruto closed his eyes for a short brief before he opened them. Yes, I dare, he said. The woman scowled as she leaned forward. You are going to accept our offer, she said in a sweet tone. Your talent in Fuinjutsu will greatly benefit your home. That's enough, Koharu, Tsunade said. She gave the woman a stern look for her to say anything else. But she did not. You're all dismissed. Except for you, Naruto. Danzo spoke up. He does not see the opportunity for growth that we have set in front of him, Lady Tsunade. Give him not gonna happen, she said, cutting him off before he could finish what he had to say. You are too young and inexperienced as a Hokage to know exactly what is good for Konoha, the Warhawk said. Tsunade got up sharply. I was chosen by all the council to lead Konoha. They saw something in me that I didn't even see. And you, she said, definitely don't have that. Now leave before I put you all through the door. As Koharu spoke, Tsunade stepped forward, her fist raised. Did you just dare defy an order from your superior? Homura pulled the back of her sleeve. We are leaving, he said. As the three of them left quietly. Tch, I hate those sour prunes so damn much, said Tsunade, as she looked up expecting Naruto to say something about her age, but she did not get any, as she kicked something under the decks that allow a lever to pull down and show a compartment with sake and wine inside. Glad to see that Sensei still keep this stuff here. She took a cup from the rack and poured some in it before she chugged it down. The older the better, I always say. Once again she expected to say something about her age, but there was nothing. As she asked, why don't you want to be a ninja, Naruto? I guess I lost interest. You're lying. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Fine, she said. Seeing that you're a civilian, I cannot force you to be a ninja. As she looked at him. You know you can talk to me, right? As Naruto scoffed at what she said. Just because we travel together doesn't mean I can confide anything to you, Tsunade, he said. I guess you're right, her shoulders sagged. But nothing says that we can't at least be friends. As Naruto raised an eyebrow. Where is this coming from? She looked at him for a long moment. As she released a breath. I knew your parents, she said, causing Naruto to snort. Of course you know them. Lord Third knew them. Jiraiya knew them. I think Orochimaru knew them. Every one of the Hokage guards knew them. How did you... Naruto crossed his arms. I have eyes. I can see how everyone is rather uncomfortable around me. Do you know who they are? I have a hunch. On who my parents are, yes, said Naruto. Tell me who you think they are, and I can confirm if you're right. Kushina Uzumaki was my mother, said Naruto. I checked the migration law in the library, which is a public record as of 10 years ago. And the only Uzumakis that were in Konoha was Mito Uzumaki, Lord First Wife, and Kushina Uzumaki. Mito is too old to be my mother. And a little snooping around later and I found out both of them were Jinchurikis. Tsunade didn't want to ask him who he had to interrogate. Maybe it was an older civilian or shinobi. And seeing that I'm the current Jinchuriki, I guess that I'm her son, correct? Yes, you're correct. She coughed in her hand as she wondered how deep he can go if he wanted to find out something. And your father? The fourth, Minato no Mikaze. It can't be a coincidence that the Hokage guards dance around the topic whenever I bring it up. That, and I couldn't have been randomly picked from the orphanage. Plus, I have blonde hair and a flair for seals, and I'm definitely not a Yamanaka. You're very thorough, she said. I don't like being left in the dark, said Naruto. Sensei wanted to tell you when you were much older, but I think you're ready to see what they left you. As she stood up and walked towards the Fortikage photo and unsealed a large scroll from behind it. They did not know they would be dying the same day they gave birth to you. But they already willed all they own to you. Just in case, here's a letter. As the boy gingerly took it from her as he read. Dear son, Hey there, it's your dad. I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but your mother and I agree that we should follow our gut feeling and write something down for you. Our gut feelings are what keep us alive in the trenches that you know. If you're reading this letter, we're probably dead. The lining broke up. It was almost like the person was hit with something, as the D had a long drawn line, like his hand had scribbled off. It continued, but it was different. Kushina here, son. Don't listen to that idiot. Minato has never been smooth with words. What he meant to say is, will not be present to be taking care of you. We're both ninjas of Konoha. Her lines wavered a bit, like she was choking up. I just want you to know, if we're not there to raise you, we love you with everything. In our entire beings. As Naruto could only imagine her, laughing and her husband placing a hand on her shoulder. Naruto's legs felt weak. We're leaving this letter with old man Saratobi to give you whenever you ask about us if we're not there ourselves. I hope, to the heavens, Jiraiya will not mess up as your godfather. I know that Mikoto will not leave you to the dust. She's your godmother, by the way. She may be quiet at first, but if you get to know her, she's a real sweetheart. Say hi to her if she's there, okay? A slow tear crawled down Naruto's face as he kept on reading. We left you with everything that we own, even Minato boxers. He chuckled under his breath and sniffed as he imagined his mother giggling. The investment and the estates are all willing to you. But I trust Mikoto to look after everything until you're ready. Anyways, how are you? I'm not sure how old you are right now, but despite that, I'm sure that you inherited my genius in seals. Oh, and Minato too, but mostly mine. A mother knows. Know that whatever you choose to be in the future, a ninja, a civilian, or even a tyrant, we will always be proud of you. That's how much we love you. Don't ever doubt that. But we hope that you will do something worthwhile with your life. If you have the Kyuubi in you, tell him I said hi too. Kurama is really smart. Listen to him if you have to. Well, we have to go. A large red lipstick kiss was placed down on it, with a heart beside it. We love you. The fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze and the Princess of Whirlpool, Kushina Uzumaki. He took a deep breath as he closed his eyes after reading it. He had told himself over and over that confirming his parents' identity, he would not let it get to him. Right now though, he felt like a 5,000-pound weight on his chest that would have normally killed people had been lifted, and he could finally breathe. As he noticed there was a storage seal at the bottom, he unsealed what was inside. More tears started to drop from his eyes as a photo came out, with his mother and father, his mother being pregnant. As her mouth was stuffed with ramen, a happy grin on her face, his father, sweat dropping but smiling. His parents were so adorable. They didn't abandon him. They loved me, he thought to himself. As he noticed from his mother curly handwriting, she was a very emotional woman, finding it hard to hide her feelings from anything she was doing. She was probably stubborn as well, if the fact that she was at Uzumaki hinted at that. His father's calligraphy was light, like he was ready to drop the pen at a moment's notice and raise the weapons. To protect those who he cared for, those who he loved. When I sometimes sleep over at their place, I would hear Kushina singing to you before she goes to sleep. Tsunade said softly, and she would talk about how cool you were going to be when you were born. You were their son, she would say. Minato would always boast about the things that he would teach you. They love you much more than anything that they could put on paper. As Tsunade reached over as she patted his shoulder, they left more letters at their estate. They're all over the place. Do you want to go there now? Naruto nodded. Yes. If you don't mind, he said. She organized her decks as she told Shizune that she was heading out, and she wouldn't be back for a while. As both her and Naruto went towards the Uzumaki Namikaze estate. But guys, the end subscribe right here. If you want to see next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, Don't forget to go ahead and check out the other series. I post a 7-hour video over on Anime Prince, guys. It's a long one of what if Naruto went to the Danny Phantom universe, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy, guys. And yes, the other channels will be down in the description. Yes, I have 4 of them, guys, which I post what if on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly, every single day for guys enjoy. So just go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family, and thank you for all of your help and support. Don't forget. So without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.